In this video, I want to talk about where the Great Tribulation is depicted in Daniel chapter 2. And that's an important prophecy that uses Nebuchadnezzar's image to outline events leading up to the coming of the kingdom of God on earth. The Great Tribulation is found in that outline of time. And in this video, I'll show you where it is. You, O king, were looking, and behold, there was a single great statue. That statue, which was large and of extraordinary splendor, was standing in front of you, and its appearance was awesome. The head of that statue was made of fine gold, its breast and its arms of silver, its bellies and its thighs of bronze, its legs of iron, its feet partly of iron, and partly of clay. You continued looking until a stone was cut out without hands, and it struck the statue on its feet of iron and clay, and crushed them. Then the iron, the clay, the bronze, the silver, and the gold were crushed all at the same time, and became like chaff from the summer threshing floors. And the wind carried them away, so that not a trace of them was found. But the stone that struck the statue became a great mountain and filled the whole earth. That's Daniel 2:31-35. This was the dream. Now we will tell its interpretation before the king. You, O king, are the King of kings, to whom the God of heaven has given the kingdom, the power, the strength, and the glory. And wherever the sons of men dwell, or the beasts of the field, or the birds of the sky, he has given them into your hand, and has caused you to rule over them all. You are the head of gold. After you there will arise another kingdom inferior to you, then another third kingdom of bronze, which will rule over all the earth. Then there will be a fourth kingdom as strong as iron. Inasmuch as iron crushes and shatters all things, so, like iron that breaks in pieces, it will crush and break all these in pieces. In that you saw the feet and toes, partly of potter's clay and partly of iron, it will be a divided kingdom, but it will have in it the toughness of iron, inasmuch as you saw the iron mixed with common clay. As the toes of the feet were partly of iron and partly of pottery, so some of the kingdom will be strong, and part of it will be brittle. And in that you saw the iron mixed with common clay, they will combine with one another in the seed of men, but they will not adhere to one another, even as iron does not combine with pottery. In the days of those kings, the God of heaven will set up a kingdom which will never be destroyed, and that kingdom will not be left for another people. It will crush and put an end to all these kingdoms, but it will itself endure forever. Inasmuch as you saw that a stone was cut out of the mountain without hands, and that it crushed the iron, the bronze, the clay, the silver, and the gold, the great God has made known to the king what will take place in the future, so the dream is true, and its interpretation is trustworthy. That's Daniel 2:36-45. Now what you have here in this prophecy is a succession of Gentile powers that lead up to the time until the kingdom of God comes on the earth. You've probably seen depictions like this before showing the image from Daniel 2. And this layout is basically correct. They show the head of gold there, Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon. The chest and arms of silver then represent the Medo-Persian Empire. The belly of bronze represents the Empire of Greece. And the legs of iron then represent the Roman Empire. And you have the feet and toes of mixed iron and clay. And they say here it represents the governments of the end time. You could say that from our perspective today. But when the prophecy was given, it is simply outlining the destiny for Israel and the Gentile nations leading up to the time of the kingdom of God. And the feet and toes represent the final form that the Roman Empire will be in when the Lord returns, represented by the stone, to crush the kingdoms of men. And you've probably seen this depiction before as well. I got this image here out of Clarence Larkin's book, and I'll use it to show the timeline, and this will be important because you'll see me use this in other videos in the future, so keep this in mind. It's a way of outlining time up until the kingdom comes, and it derives from the prophecy in Daniel 2. So you would have the head of gold there that would represent the Babylonian Empire. Then you would have the chest and arms of silver, and that would represent the Medo-Persian Empire. And then you have the waist and thighs of bronze there that would represent Greece, the Greek Empire, and the legs of iron then that would represent the Roman Empire. Now the final form of the Roman Empire is when it has these 10 toes, and it's the feet and toes of mixed iron and clay, as the prophecy talks about. That period of time right there is when this Great Tribulation period happens. And so I'm just going to highlight it in red there for you. That period right there is when this Great Tribulation period is going to occur. And in a larger picture then of the prophecy, what you would find then is at the close of the entire era for the kingdoms of men, and when the Lord returns, who's the rock that strikes the image on the feet and becomes a mountain that fills the whole earth, that is a picture of the advent of Messiah and the establishing of the kingdom. So the Great Tribulation comes to a close, the Lord returns from heaven, destroys the kingdoms of men, and establishes the kingdom of God. The red feet there, that represents where the Great Tribulation will occur in all of this. It's right before the kingdom. So there you go. The Great Tribulation depicted in Daniel chapter 2. I hope this was helpful. See you next time.